Tune in and talk hurricanes on the line. We always looking for a QB to drop some dimes. We talking to you with Sebastian Lane. Only scouting 5-star players to impact the game. And the whole point is to make a run for the ship. Throwing bows, whether we at home or on a trip. What we want, blue chips. Or a beast in the middle of that defense to make a hater flip. When he try to come through the A-gap without block, you can bet whoever got the rock face gets slapped. You know that you only bring in the fastest. Bonafide athletes that can catch it or pass it. Electrifying talent that can take you to the house. Coming for the top dogs on the coast and in the south. So if you think you know the game, get your talk on. And if you ain't riding with the Canes, go ahead and get your walk on. We talking about the game with Sebastian Lane. And scouting the recruits that can really bang. Players with stats to make the Hall of Fame. It's called a dynasty, watch it rise again. We talking about the game with Sebastian Lane. And scouting the recruits that can really bang. Players with stats to make the Hall of Fame. It's called a dynasty, watch it rise again.
What's happening, man? What's going on? Back with another one. Obviously headed into the last weekend of the year, man. Seems like we just started. Seems like the season really is just flew by, man. 10-1. First time with 10 wins, last 7 years? Before that was 2003. So getting back into the swing of things, man. This is a big one. Obviously, Canes head up to Syracuse, New York, and get to take on the Orange, man, up there in the Dome. Obviously, I'm glad we're in a Dome. We got to be out there in that cold behind weather up in New York. And, there's a good team, right? They're 8-3. They got a good quarterback and love to throw the ball. But, man, that run offense is just non-existent, right? So, obviously, we got to come prepared. Going to have to come ready to play. Defense showed a little bit this week. They might be a little turning the tables. I hope. I know you hope. So, obviously, it'd be Miami's first chance to win 11 games, man, in 20 years. So, it feels like, it's still a long reach. But how are you feeling, man, headed into the last week of the year?
Yeah, man, just got to hang on. We need one more, right? And I know the season ain't over. If, whatever happens Saturday, I get it. But, man, so let's rewind. Let's pretend it's August, it's July, August. And, I'll come to you and I'll say, Ross, I'm going to cut you a deal, man. Like, here's the deal. You can take it or you can leave it on the table. But going into the last week of the season, your Canes going to be 10-1. I ain't going to tell you where the loss came from, but you roll the Gators, you roll the Noles, you're 10-1 heading into the last season. You got the number one offense in the whole damn country. Would you have taken that?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, bro, it's weird or not, because when we started this year, right, before in the summer, we got to see how spring was going to go. We got to see the last minute additions, everything else rolling through, right? So we get to see all those. And then I said 10-2 is bare minimum, right? Mm-hmm. Looking at the schedule, Miami should bare minimum be 10-2. I felt confident enough to say, hey, we can hit 12-0. But there's going to be that one game that we stumble wrong. I didn't know if it was Georgia Tech. Obviously, I hate that it was Georgia Tech because that seems like Mario's little thorn. But, obviously, if you finish the season 11-1, I don't know any Canes fans that will be – well, let me refuse that. Let me rephrase that, because our fans are very toxic.
Easy.
Should not be unhappy going 11-1, right? I said it before, man. Preseason, all the fans kept talking 9-3, 10-2. Oh, Mario's going to have that one hiccup, which he did. We're going to lose one or two of Louisville, Florida, Florida State, and Virginia Tech, right? People were calling those like, we're not going to win all four. We won all four. Obviously you can call it what you want. People were saying Cal will be a trap game, et cetera, et cetera. Some were even talking about the Syracuse, right? The Syracuse they're a good team. So here you are, 10-1 with a great spot to be in to get into the ACC title game. Why people would be pissed or mad about this, I don't know. Obviously there's things that I would love to see better, especially when you got a Heisman candidate quarterback. But at the end of the day, bro, I'm not mad about it at all. I'm very happy with where we're at, very happy with the trend. Obviously, I would like to be 11-0 right now, but I'll take it. I'm happy where we're at. Just handle business Saturday against Syracuse. Let's just do what we got to do. Obviously, last game of the year, you can have a little ups and downs, but I think this team, man, they know we got to win this one to get to that next stage, which is ACC title game. So they got to come ready to play, and I'm hoping the staff comes ready as well.
Yeah, you take everything you just said, the deal I made you and all that jazz and everything you've accomplished this year. And it's been a hell of a ride. It's been tough, but, we're finally on the winning side of those tough games, the winning side of those close games. And, you talked about, our fan base. And, I know you've been around for a minute. I've been around for a couple hours because I got several years on you. But, man, anybody that's been around for any time at all should truly appreciate what's going on right now because it's been a long, long time. And so Saturday, it all comes to a head. Thing you've accomplished this year, playoff game Saturday at Sarah. And that offense, you mentioned their quarterback, if you're not familiar with him, he's right at 4,000 yards for the season. He has thrown 12 picks, but they've got, a tight end they like to use. They've got actually 3 wide receivers, 2 wide receivers already 800 yards, another one right there on the cusp of 800 yards. And what worries me just a little bit, you touched on that run game. And, yeah, they're all passed, but their running back's actually flirting with a 1,000-yard season. He's over 800 yards. So that worries me because if he's going to go off against anybody, who's it going to be? Yeah, that's just our luck. That's what we do. And so just show up, man. Everybody just do your damn job. That's all you got to do. Get a win. If it's a nice win, well, any win's a nice win. But if it's a big win, great. If it's one of these that we've experienced all year long, just take it. Hop on that bus and get your tails back home, man. And, let's roll into the ACC title game. But first things first, playoffs, title games, all that starts in Syracuse on Saturday, man. So just show up and show out.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously one of the biggest things, right, is we've been gutted by things we shouldn't have this year.
Exactly. Yep.
And as long as our linebackers stay disciplined, as long as they stay in their lanes and their gaps, my key would be that the D-line getting home, right?
Yes.
I mentioned it before in some of our chats. But key to success will be getting pressure on Kyle McCord. He knows he's thrown interceptions. He's got 12 interceptions, but the guy is not afraid to wing it. So get pressure on them. And it's not like they don't like to throw the ball deep, So get your ass in that backfield, bro, and let's cause havoc.
I see like a game. He had like 60 attempts or some crazy. Like he's going to get his all right on Saturday. So if you're coming into this game thinking, all right, we're going to shut him down, don't watch it because it's going to ruin your day. He's going to get his. It's going to happen. And he's done it every game. I think there was he's got one game all year where he didn't hit 300 yards. He was like 280, 290, something like that. Every other game he's been 330, 340. He's got 2, maybe 3 right at 400-yard games. So he's going to get his because they give him so many opportunities to do it. But exactly what you said, that D-line, man, and here we go with that trench talk, that D-line needs to get home, cause some havoc. Get to him by all means, but if nothing else, make him uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Just stay in his face, knock him down, so on and so forth, and just cause that havoc, man, in that backfield and kind of make him uncomfortable the whole game because listen, there's no guessing what they're going to do. We know what they're going to do. So you just got to prepare for it. And sometimes it just comes down to it. And I think it does Saturday, that D-line, you beat the man across from you. And, who's going to be that guy Saturday? Ruben Bain, whoever it is, we need somebody on that D-line to be that dude on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that's kind of been disappointing, I would say, with bringing in guys like Tyler Barron. Obviously, Ruben Bain was kind of nicked up all year, but, guys like Simon Barrow has been a bright spot. CJ Clark's been playing a little better now that he's getting in. Yeah. But I'm glad to see they made the right, changes, adjustments to the D-line. Bringing Mesidor back to the defensive end and, sticking there. Obviously, guys like Justin Scott getting more opportunities in the trenches. Guys like Ahmad Moulton. They're we're seeing a lot more different rotation, right? So, and I will say we're getting healthy. We're finally getting healthy, right? You get Elijah Austin back hopefully this week, Damari Brown as well. Those are major, parts to this team. Damari hasn't played since week 1 against UF, and I think that was like 3 snaps. So getting him back here, getting him back in the swing of things, man, it's going to be crucial for us to get these guys and get in here and let's ball out, bro. I don't say you need a 40-point win here. I mean, I would love it, obviously, but just cover the points, man. Walk out of here with a 41-20, like a real good score, because it's all about style points right now, right? Even for Cam as your Heisman quarterback candidate, he needs to have those type of games as well. So it's going to be clutch, man. Like getting these right, getting the ball back right in the right motion, man. Like people wanted to doubt our offense last week, but bro, if you watch these dudes, bro, like since Georgia Tech, the motion, get these long drives going, kind of long drawn out, keeps Cam on the sideline, keeps our offense on the sideline. We come back out, bro, and it's the same shit. Now we're sputtering. Cam Moore's missing a few throws and stuff like that. These teams watch all of it. I don't know if Syracuse goes to try to slow the ball down because it may not be their game as well, like it would be Georgia Tech's. But Kyle McCord is not going to sit out here like Haynes King and try to beat you with his feet. He's trying to beat you with his arm. That's his big thing. So hopefully, man, like I said, we can get home, get pressure in his face, and ready to go. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think Saturday again. There's no big secret to what they like to do, and I think that's why somebody on that defensive line needs to be that X factor, needs to be the difference maker in the game Saturday, because we kind of know what they want to do, right? Come out, sling the ball around, throw the ball. So, if we come out, and let turn Cam loose, and all of a sudden it turns into a shootout, and it gets down to, where you've got to score every time you got the ball. You know what I'm saying? Because they've got, like I said, they throw the ball around, but they've had a couple games this year where they, didn't look really, really good. Didn't put up a whole lot of points, that sort of thing. So, they're not throwing up 45, 50 points a game, but they give their guys lots and lots and lots of opportunities. And, things that we've seen in the past, sometimes we get caught up in things we shouldn't, like you pointed out earlier. So, you figure out what you want to do. I love Jordan Lyle on Saturday, man. That dude right there just came out. Had a really, really nice game. When you pair him with Fletch and Martinez, now all of a sudden you've got a really, really nice room right there. So, figure out your game plan, man. Come out and do what you do.
Yeah, I think, too, when we talk about the recruiting and development side of things, something that doesn't get really mentioned a lot is for the last 2 years Mario's been here, he's had a freshman All-American, right? Francis, Ruben. Now it's looking potentially, OJ definitely should be freshman All-American, absolutely. But you're also looking at somebody like Elijah Austin, Lofton and Jordan Lyle. Like, I know Georgia's got the running back, Nate Frazier, who's playing out of his mind. So obviously that'll be a little tougher, and they're going to obviously show the favoritism to the SEC. But this would mark 3 years in a row if one of those guys get his name on that board up there, which is, bro, it's a win-win. You can't hate it if these dudes are developing the right way and being used. I need Ruben Bain to get back to form. Obviously, he had a great sack. The boys came up clutch and when we needed them to. But I want to start seeing these dudes get to that next level. Ruben Bain really needs to, because he missed. Missed a good chunk of the season. So he needs to get those extra reps in, getting ready to obviously go into the ACC title game, which is going to be huge and important for Miami, as we've never won one. We've never won an ACC title game. So those are games that those dudes need to come up and play. They need to be ready to take that next step. Because I promise you, if we make it to the ACC title game against SMU, Rhett Lashley and the boys, I know they want that one more, than any other game that they'll play this year. So we have to come ready and play, because all those guys will.
Oh yeah, and that's just sort of how we do things, right? We don't do nothing the easy way around here. I swear. If things work out Saturday and we roll to that ACC title game, like you said, you look across the field and who's sitting there waiting on you? Brett Lashley and the boys. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
Facts.
Miami 2.0 over there. And if they want to sit and tell you that it ain't going to mean something extra to them, they're lying, because you know it's going to. It has to. And so that is another huge, huge
I don't
opportunity.
know
But
if it's me or you, but one of us breaking up,
was I breaking up? I don't know. It might have been.
like skipping. Y'all
Okay.
can let me know in the chat. I don't know if it's me or Dave, but one of us.
Vote for Rost on this one. But good point,
Okay.
though, earlier when you talked about Sampson and Ruben and those boys, big time freshmen. Look at the different positions. You got O line, D line, now you got DBs. You know what I'm saying? So that just shows you, as a recruit, when you look to come to Miami, you do the right things, man, and do your job. You get on the field and you have success. And it's proven time and time again in different levels. You know what I'm saying? The offense and the defense both. So that's another great selling point, along with if you can put 11-1 record with that.
Yeah, it goes into, like you said, those recruiting battles, right? When you get guys like Ben Hanks, DJ Pickett, and you're trying to show like, hey, you come over here, you're going to get developed. You're going to come over here and the sky is the limit to these guys. Because obviously with this portal window and era going on, a lot of these young men like to knock teams like Florida State, right? Like, oh, these dudes don't develop, they go in the portal, blah, blah, blah. So you don't want to become that. You want to become somebody where those teams go, man, I can go there as a freshman and play ball. They're not just going to go in a portal, grab a guy and pass him up. They benched Tyler Barron, right, who they got in the portal, and they're playing other guys ahead of him. Those are telltale signs like, hey, they're going to play the best man. They want to win. And that's what matters to me. If I go out and do what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to get that opportunity and that chance. I'm trying to hit up our guests, but, I don't know if it's that California, East Coast, the West Coast thing. Maybe got the times mixed up from 8 p.m. Eastern time to Pacific. I don't know, but still waiting on him, trying to get in touch with him. But, obviously, signing day is next week, next Wednesday. I mean, it's right around the corner. You're less than 10 days away. Miami sits in the top 10 right now. There's still a lot of guys that Miami can flip and get on board. Guys like TJ Alford, Miami's still pushing for. And obviously, it looks like he's going to take Ohio State visit this weekend. Guys like Kellen Wiley, number one linebacker in the state of Florida this cycle. Miami's still pushing there, battling teams like Texas for his pledge, or actually for his signature now. But, there's still some guys like Ben Hanks, DJ Pickett. Obviously, Florida starting to gain momentum. DJ Pickett still looking like he's going to, stick to those LSU commitments and stuff like that. It's not looking as bright as some would have thought, right? Going 10-1, may have an opportunity to go to the college football playoffs. How are you feeling going into next week?
Yeah, personally, my feeling, my stance hasn't changed a whole lot right now as it has the past few weeks, just because this is kind of what you expect. We knew, DJ Pickett wasn't going to just announce right now that's going to go to the wire. We know that. I don't know which way he's going to go,
Right.
but I know I didn't expect a decision by now. So I'm still where I was with that. When you talk about Ben Hanks, legacy over there, we knew that's an uphill battle. It's been an uphill battle this entire time. And again, I didn't expect a decision right now anyway. So when you get in this recruiting thing, man, and you start going up against, programs like this, big programs, rival programs, things like that, this is kind of what you deal with.
Right.
You can go, you can go a little smaller if you want to and pick up, guys. And we have, but now you got guys right now that you got to really show them something. These just aren't guys you're trying to recruit. You're trying to flip, and recruiting's hard enough. And now when you're trying to flip a kid from a program, especially like you said, the mighty, that SEC logo,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you deal with, a few more still in the mix. But again, this is kind of what I expected anyway. At this stage of the game, you kind of got what you got, and now these dudes here you're trying to flip. So you got to put in a little bit, extra work, and they're going to take it down to the wire because they can afford to do that. They're already committed somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's something that, us fans, we kind of get irritated, annoyed, right? Is we want something to happen so bad. and it does it. I mean, these young men, they got to make the best decision for themselves, for their family, the future, and so on and so on. There are other things that go into it that we don't see, that play a factor. So obviously, we have our guys that are committed right now. Last week we went through step by step, kind of explain what do you think, is this a good class, so on and so on. I still feel like we're missing pieces, right? Still feel like we need an it factor at linebacker. Still think we need some guys on the D line. Definitely I would love to add one or two more in that DB room. Damn sure would love to add a wide receiver. That's the one that I'm kind of like, man, if you can get me a Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown, Jamie French, a guy that's like, hey, he can make that room that much more elite, right? I love Joshua Moore, love Malachi Tony. Like, I love all those dudes that we have committed right now, Dalen Upshaw. But I feel like, man, we need a true elite, like, number one. That Andre Johnson, that dog that just can take over a game. That Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, Cam Coleman, those guys that are just difference makers, right? We might go into the portal. I think we will. Can't speak too soon because you never know with Mario. But I think we'll go into the portal and get a quarterback, right? Who that might be, there's many options out there. I think just like last year, how the portal was jumping, things were crazy. Had Cam Moore jump in. Obviously people were like, why would he come to Miami? He's got options like Ohio State that were going to come calling, etc. Well, it happens, right? You're going to have to step up and play big boy ball. That's what I want to start seeing with a, say, 12-1 season with an ACC title under your belt. You hit the recruiting trail. You go into the college football playoffs. We start seeing some of the, these benefits, some of these perks. That's what we really need to see, especially going into this 2026 class, because this has a really good making of being an elite class. Like, those upper echelons, the top 5 area, we've already been there before last year. It has all the makings to where we can get there again. And I'll be real, man. If Mario can repeat another 10, 11-win season, maybe get to the college football playoffs again, I don't see why that 2026 class, bro, can't be a top 5, top 3 class.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And we've said this probably every show for the last month, that 26 class, like, you almost got to try not to land dudes out of that class. Lots and lots and lots of talent all the way through there. So, if you continue to build and then you land an elite class there, I agree with what you said about the portal at quarterback. I agree with that for several positions. And I think either that's going to be the plan if we miss out on some of these flips we're going after. Possibly that's the plan already. I don't know. But I think that should be the plan already. I think you need to go get some guys that can come in right now and make a difference. And I'm not talking about just come in and take up a seat in the room. I said make a difference. You go out, you get your quarterback. If you can get one of those freshmen that you just talked about, when those commits, then fantastic if they could come in and do that. But I think that right there is such a rarity where you have a Jeremiah Smith or, a guy like that to come in and not only play, but to play like he is right now this year, out there looking like he's been around for 3 years already. So if you want to do that, fantastic. If it works out that way, fantastic. But, if you're going to gamble on that, then you're going to get what you get. I like the guys who haven't come back at wide receiver. I'm not saying that I don't, but I would love to see us go get, like you said, that big time dude, that wow factor, that dude that comes in here and he's that guy paired up with a big time quarterback, and then solidify that defense, bro. Get me a couple of DTs. I mean, some killers, linebacker, DB, whatever you need to do, but go out and get those guys, whoever those dudes are going to be. And I don't know who those guys are in the portal. I don't know that, but whoever they're going to be, go get those dudes and let's get that defense fixed up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the funniest part when you watch some of the stuff on the timelines on the boards, etc., is Miami's either one or two things. Miami is paying everybody or broke as hell.
There ain't no in between.
Or we either spend all our money on Cam Ward and then we have none for nobody else, right? Like it's funny how that shit works. But obviously, man, there are a ton of holes that need to be fulfilled next year. Whether, like you said, whether it is with some of these recruits coming in, because a guy like OJ could, be right here in this class.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and you have OJ, Damari, and another personnel, hopefully like a Ben Hanks or I mean, I'm hoping Jabari Anton or maybe Bryce Fitzgerald. I think those dudes are dogs in the class. But honestly, like Drake Stubbs, big time guy, who can come in, start right now, immediately. That's what you need, right, on that back end. But I still think you need to go in the portal, bro, and add a guy or two that's got snaps. He's a veteran already, and they're ready to play. So, and it just ups the room at the end of the day, and that's all that matters. Some guys are going to want to go and get other, snaps elsewhere and stuff like that. I get it, bro. If a Markeith Williams wants to go because he's in it, he'll be going into a senior year. You gotta let him, go get his snaps. He needs film to put out there for the NFL and everything else. Guys like Chase Smith, going into possibly his last season. There's so many guys, man, that could get passed up, if you bring in the right personnel. But there's guys also that you bring them in and maybe, they take that next step and really take the year serious and get into to that starting lineup, get some snaps.
Yeah, if I so you talked about safety, in that DB room and just safety in particular, but kind of that I would like to see sort of that Cam Ward mentality where you find a dude who's balling out where he's at. Every time somebody enters the portal, there's always that question to me: why are they in the portal? Why are they leaving? If things are going so well at their current in their current situation, why do they want to leave there? Right? There's a lot of times there's a backstory and you don't know everything. But you take a guy like Cam Ward who balled out where he was, but just wanted to kind of up that draft stock, right? Get some more looks. You know what I'm saying? Go find me that dude at safety. Go find me a dude who's playing somewhere, has a high football IQ, knows what to do, knows where to be, knows how to play, does all the right things. But then he can come here and kind of get on that pedestal a little bit, right? Get recognized a little bit more. Go get me that dude at safety. Again, I don't know who it is. I don't know, but go find him and bring me that dude in here. And you can kind of sell that a little bit, because if I'm a safety somewhere and I want to elevate just a little bit, like I know I can come here and play. I mean, who's going to stop me? Who's going to knock me out, right? And I think you kind of do that, there. You can look at on defensive line as far as like tackles, things like that. Yeah, I absolutely want a couple of killers at DT out of the portal. But I think we got some dudes that are showing a little bit there, some young guys. You just need to kind of get those guys to bridge that gap and kind of let those dudes continue to come in. You got guys like, Armando Blunt, who, he's technically a year younger than a lot of these dudes. And I think people forget about that. I've had people ask about him. I'm like, he really shouldn't even be here yet. So
should be a senior.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he shouldn't even be here yet. He reclassified. And I think people forget that. But you've got some young dudes on that D-line that I think are coming along and going to do the right things. It's just hard to throw a guy in there and then all of a sudden you're just dependent on all freshmen. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and get those big guys and let these young dudes develop the way they should. But I would really like to see that defense. I would like to see some focus, some emphasis on that side.
Yeah, I mean, we look at like the running back room, right? Brought a guy like Damian Martinez over, but a guy like, Jordan Lau, he came in as a freshman and stepped up. Other guys may have not liked the competition. Some may have, kind of, I don't want to say took their tail and ran, but, they may have looked elsewhere and said, hey, I'm just not going to get my playing time over these guys. Everybody looks at this stuff differently. When you get a true freshman or, even a guy like, say a CJ, Chris Johnson, right? CJ2K. I don't know how he looked at the situation, but he might be like, man, I thought I was going to get more snaps this year. Now this guy comes in and, he's like, hey, I can go somewhere else, man. I know I can go to UCF or, maybe a Vanderbilt, and get snaps. Because you look at teams like Vanderbilt, bro, I mean, they played a lot of these teams tough. So that might become a very intriguing spot in the portal, for guys that want that starting position, that want those starter reps. So it's going to be a very, very interesting offseason this year. You know, my only concern is how hard can you go when you're still playing for an ACC title game and college football playoffs?
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
that's a big thing. You can't take your
yeah.
focus off.
No, you can't, and that's the game, man. Right? You got to stay focused all the time. I think
Absolutely.
it was funny. You've probably saw it. I know a lot of people have talked about it, but the press conference day when they asked Mario the question about Thanksgiving and like, what do you like to eat or whatever? Like, there's nothing else going on right now. That's the question you want to ask. But I don't even think he knew it was Thanksgiving week. There's so much going on right now. Like you said, you've got not only ACC title game in the playoffs, but you can't worry about that right now. You got to worry about Saturday, right?
Right.
Because the Saturday don't happen, none of that happens. So
Right.
everything. That's what I said earlier. Everything you've tried to do, everything you've accomplished in this great season that we've had, it's on the line Saturday. Because at the beginning of the season, we talked this. We talked ACC title game. You looked at the schedule. You looked at Cam Ward. You got your guy. ACC title game, like whether you win it or not, I don't know, but you're going to be there, right? And we said all this, so you got to show up Saturday again. That's playoffs. That's when it starts for us. Is Saturday once again, the whole 1-0 thing. But you throw all that in with, like you said, signing day right around the corner, right? And then there is no off season. You got portal season. You got all that. There are no days off. And there's a whole lot there. That's why you got to make sure you got those right people in the right spots on your staff handling business for you, because you can't be everywhere at the same time, even though you have to be everywhere at the same time. So,
Right.
slow down and make Saturday happen. Because to me, in my opinion, that's the most important thing in this whole mix. Take recruiting, you take portals, you take title games, you take playoffs, you take whatever you want to do. Syracuse is where it all starts or where it all ends on Saturday. So, figure out what you want to do there, because that's your season.
Yeah, I mean, I got asked this question earlier, and it's kind of stuck with me. Right? Say you go to Syracuse and you lose,
Mm-hmm.
is the season a waste? Because you're not going to ACC title game, you're not going to college football playoff game, but you won 10 wins. You got to the double digits, win total. Is it a wash? Like, is it up in the air? Like, whatever. Me
I don't think.
personally, I would say yes, because I don't know how often this opportunity of having the best quarterback in college football will come around. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how often, we'll have another shot at maybe making a run when you get deep into the playoffs. Like, you built this team to make a run. Yes, it's nice to have 10 wins, but if you go back and look at that 2017 season, man, it was devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Go 10-0 and then you lose the last three. Something like that could very well happen. If you lose to Syracuse, you're 10-2. You're not going to the ACC title game. You're what you call it? You're going to a regular bowl game. It's not even going to be like the Orange Bowl, because that's now a college football playoff game. Dudes are going to sit out, right? Going to the draft, et cetera, like that. You're looking at a potential offseason that could be really devastating, So I would say yes, you need to win this weekend. You need to go to the ACC title game, and honestly, you need to win the ACC championship,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if you lose that game, we all know how the media and everything else can't stay in Miami. One little mess up, they've been trying to get us out of the playoffs. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think these next two games, man, they're crucial.
Yeah. It's tough for me to say it's a complete waste, but then on the flip side, when you look at what we brought in this year for this season, it's tough not to. Um, you
Yeah,
did you didn't wait up until the last minute of the last hour of the last day to get your guy Cam Ward
mm,
and break the bank to come in here and not at least, like you said, yeah, you need to win that bitch, but to not even show up to it, not even get in it. Is
yeah,
that really is that really when we got Cam Ward, when you heard that announcement, when everybody got that announcement, everybody got the word, when Mario got that phone call from Cam, hey, I want to be a Cane. Did the thoughts of not making the ACC title game even creep into anybody's mind? I don't think so. I don't think so.
yeah,
If it did, I don't know where you thought we'd be without him. So, I think it's very hard to argue that it's not. And so I think what you need to do is, you don't sit. I'm not going to sit here and say, don't worry about that. Just go handle business. No, you worry about it. You let it burn in you and you let it eat in your mind, because Saturday, again, that's where your season starts or it could end right there. And yeah, you're going to continue to go on. You get a bowl game. You got 10-2. You can still get that 11th win, but it's not going to feel quite right. So you need, and it's Syracuse. Bro, we're not going to Texas. We're not going to Athens. You're not going to Bama. We're going to Syracuse. Stop making it what it ain't. It's
Right.
Syracuse. And, show up and act like you should act. Do your job, do your thing. Let Cam do his thing. Let's go out there and score some points, make a couple plays on defense, and, get out of there with a win. And I think we're all at this stage. I told you this the last show, that this past week, I wasn't going into it thinking we're going to win by 50. I'm done with that. Just win the game. Just win the game. That's all I want. And so go in there Saturday and get you a win. I know style points matter. I get that. But if you win that game, then you still get to go to the ACC title game, and then you can win that one however the hell you want to. And then you hit them playoffs that we're talking about, and you get that first round bye. That first round bye is huge. You know what I'm saying? If you can win that title game and roll into that thing on the top 4 teams, then now we're really cooking. Now you really got a selling point. This thing's real. I think a lot of people, Miami fans and Miami rivals, everybody's just waiting for this thing to fall apart. They're just waiting on it to fall apart at the seams, and they hope that happened with Georgia Tech, and you bounce back Saturday and show that it didn't. So show up Syracuse Saturday and continue that.
Yeah, and I think too, when you go back and look into this offseason, had you have told me that Clemson wouldn't even be leading for the ACC title game, Louisville doesn't have a shot, Florida State's nowhere to even be thought of, Virginia Tech's not even in the top echelon, I would have told you crazy. At the end of the day, like I thought SMU would be. I actually had SMU to finish the year at 10-2. Which obviously they're 10-1. We'll see. They should win this weekend, but things happen. But you're telling me when you look at our schedule, right? People kept saying, "Oh, it's cake." It's not as hard. Like it's a easy cakewalk to the ACC title game. When you go back and look at it, I mean, obviously you're probably going to end up playing SMU, who would be 11-1, right? But then you look at your regular season: Louisville, who's 7-4, Georgia Tech, who's 7-4, Duke, who's 8-3, Syracuse, 8-3. Obviously, Virginia Tech, I still think they're better than the record at 5-6, but they're a 5-6 team. Then you get down to obviously the Cows, who were supposed to win like 3 games. They're 6-5. When you start looking at the schedule, it's like, damn, okay, we play 6 out of 8 teams that are bowl eligible. Like that isn't as easy as some think. We're in like the top 4 or 5 with teams that played the most bowl eligible teams with 1 week remaining.
Yeah, why ain't nobody talking about Texas and their damn schedule? You want to keep looking over here at us. I'm not even going to tell you. If you don't know, go look that up. If you want to see something, if you want to open your eyes, just because they got that SEC logo up here on the shoulder now, it's like everybody's forgot. Go look at their schedule and tell me who they played. I don't care what conference they played. Go tell me who they played. Tell me what kind of record those teams have got, and then come back and look at our record. That's all. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. The numbers don't lie. It's right there. And like you said, you look at Syracuse, and I don't think a lot of people understand they're 8-3. That's not a bad team. They're really not. And so, just go and look at that. And I'm not saying, listen, I don't know. We line up against Texas. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you want to talk records and who we've played and all that, everybody looks at Miami. Oh, they're in the ACC. They don't play nobody. But I know a couple other y'all that ain't playing nobody either. I don't care what your damn logo says.
Mm-hmm. Nah, that's facts, man.
Yep.
Looks like our guest. I know it's playoff football right now, so we'll get back with them, man. Try to get them back on next week. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll be back next Monday, obviously, hopefully 11-1, and on the way to an ACC title game that week.
Yep.
Headed into national sign or early signing day. We appreciate y'all as always, man. If you're watching on Twitter, please go subscribe to the YouTube channel, Sebastian Lane Behind the Mask. We'll be back next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, it's all about the you.
Yes, sir.